What is the difference between a monk and a priest? And how does that affect our understanding of Japanese culture? My name's Antony Cummins and I'm the author of the Book of Bushido, and we're now going to have a quick look at the Japanese monk and the problems in trying to understand their way and also value their teachings. Okay, a monk is a recluse who goes into a monastery to practice their religion, but they are separated from the world and live away from society. Priest is someone who lives inside of a community, usually in a building of worship or a religious building, and they serve the local community. While there are lots of types of Japanese monks, this is your generic standard Japanese monk style, and you can sort of tell them by the way they look. Now this is a Shinto priest and his maidens, his shrine maidens behind him. Once you know the difference, you can start to see the difference itself. However, one is from Shinto, one is from Buddhism. Staying with Shinto, this is a torii gate. There's an extra E at the end, torii. And this will lead you into a Shinto shrine where a Shinto priest will be doing his job. This is a Buddhist temple, and while there are many different types of Buddhist temple, this is where your Buddhist monks will be doing all their practice outside of the local community. Everybody should understand is that while these appear separate, in Japan they are actually interlinked, and they've been interlinked for about 1,000 years. It's only after the samurai that Buddhist monks and Shinto priests were divided. Back in history, many of them were the same people. And what you'll find is that actually the Shinto shrine was kept inside of a Buddhist temple. So now we know that on the basic level of all things, a monk is someone who is actually moving away from society to study religion. A priest is someone who teaches or preaches to the community. I'm going to make things a little bit more complicated here. A shrine is actually something that is dedicated to a relic or a god or something of divine worship. So i.e., we are looking at this place is a divine place, this relic is divine, this has a connection to the divine. So that's the basic understanding of shrine, whereas a temple is dedicated to the worship of religion in general. So this is very, very hard really to separate them outside of Japan. Is finding a temple, which is somewhere where you worship religion, and a shrine where you worship something that is connected to that religion or a divine being, which is most likely within the religion. There is a distinction, but it's small. In both Buddhism and Shinto, colour and robes and, I have to say, uniforms make a big difference to the different types of things that people do. They on the whole are doing Buddhism or they're doing Shintoism, but actually the different colour of the uniforms makes for the different sects and different ideas that they have behind their fundamental understanding of that religion. This month, Tadagenji has done a video on the very complicated issue of whether monks can do what they should be doing and the problem with Japanese monks. We've got Sengoku Studies, who's actually done a video on armed factions within Shintoism, and we've got the Shogunate, who's done a video on Benkei, the legendary warrior monk of Japan. I'm going to link them all below. Click those links and go and have a look. Oh, there is something that we really need to think about, is that the idea that Buddhism actually came to Japan before the samurai. And we have talked on this channel before, just in case you're new, that Stephen Nojiri from Tadagenji is saying that Shinto might not be as we expected it was before the coming of Buddhism. So this creates a little bit of a problem. Well, the first mention of a torii gate actually comes in the 10th century. The oldest stone torii gate is about the 12th century, and the oldest wooden torii gate is the 16th century. So actually, the iconic emblem of the torii gate is not as old as we think. It is old, but it doesn't go back to the pre-samurai, pre-Buddhist times. So you have to be careful not to map on our current ideas with old ideas. For example, torii gate equals shrine. Pagodas are Buddhist, and these are all separated, and Buddhism, and Shinto is older and Buddhism is the newcomer. Actually, they did grow together, and there's lots of intermixed ideas between them that you really can't separate. So I've just talked about the pagoda and how it's normally Buddhist, and it is, but however, it's not always the case, and you might find that it's Taoist. But again, back to some other theories that Taoism was actually part of Shintoism in early Japan. But this is getting far too complicated for this video, so let's get it back to basics. So we have monks and priests. A monk lives in a monastery and a priest preaches to the local community. That's the basic divide. However, these are Western words, and we should be using Western words. You shouldn't keep everything to the original language because we speak in English. So let's have a look at the Japanese word for priest and for monk and see where we can go from there. Now, the basic Japanese word for a Shinto priest is shinshoku or kanushi. Now, of course, there are many words used in Japan, and as you go back in time, lots of words intermingle and change, but this is the basic Shinto priest. While for a Buddhist monk, it's obo-san. Okay, there are different versions again of it, but the basic one stands here. This is where it doesn't really stick all the way through, because a simple search on Jisho, which is the Japanese dictionary, shows a Buddhist priest or a monk. So it's even intermingled there, which is not helpful in the slightest. Now, this doesn't count for other things like Yamabushi monks and all the different monks in Japan, ones who play flute, ones who beg, ones who go around, itinerant monks, monks who go around the local community, which technically should be a priest, but you get the idea. It's about understanding the context about what we're talking about and getting a general idea of the basic boundaries. I just want to say thank you very much for watching. Get yourself a copy of the Book of Bushido. Now, there's more to Japanese monks than meets the eye. It is also a business. Japanese monks basically inherit their position and they have to run a family business. So it is run like a business. But that's something for another video, which we will go ahead and do before the end of the month is out. Thank you very much. Support me by getting the Book of Bushido. My name is Antony Cummins.